Hey, come on into my world, Steffi's world. Want to come on with episode 208 Death Drop P Valley recap. And I'm telling you right now, there's spoilers. So if that's not your thing, if you are a subscriber, you might want to go ahead and log off. I hope by now you've seen it. Actually, I was so preoccupied that I missed the midnight drop Saturday night, Sunday morning, and I caught it in the wee hours of Sunday morning. And again, it didn't disappoint. It is narrowing down 2 episodes to go. 2 episodes. I heard that it got renewed for a third season, but nobody seems to be picking up on that. So I don't know just yet. So let's go ahead and get into it. It started with Mercedes on the pole, and she's trying to get back into the routine, and it's not going well, and she is frustrated to no end, and she's having a moment. And Uncle Clifford walks in on her moment and was like, no crying in the paint. And she was like, maybe it's just not meant for her to fly anymore. And Uncle Clifford was like, it's in her mind. And Mercedes shot back with, and the problem with the paint is in her hand. Kind of going with everything that's going on with the paint. It cuts to Uncle Clifford and Little Murder having a moment. He's cutting his hair, and he's cutting Murder in the back of his head. Uncle Clifford, we find out, has yet something else that she can do, and that's cut hair. And she was wondering, like, who you getting all cute for? Well, Murder say nobody. And Uncle Clifford was like, you more secretive than a Janet Jackson lyric, and I'm not intending to be that secret. And it started with a little bit of back and forth banter. Who you been with? Where you been? What was you doing? This, that, and the other. And to me, when stuff starts like that, it's the beginning to the end, because the serious trust issues in us a whole lot there. So actually, Lil Murder's holding the phone because they're they're on hold at the hospital trying to check on Miss Ernestine. And finally, someone picks up and they tell Uncle Clifford, there is no change, no information since the last time you called 25 minutes ago. Click. So they sick of Uncle Clifford. Mercedes is running with her dog, jogging in the neighborhood, and the dog's name is Black and Mild, which I think is super cute. And all of a sudden, the dog pulls away from her and goes to somebody else. And she was like, Black and Mild, and she sees Maine is out. And Maine is looking her up and down. He's looking good, fresh out, with an ankle monitor. And they talk. He tells them that they're gonna throw a block party for him, and is she gonna come through, and will she be his date? And she was like, she'll try to move some things around. So she goes on about her business. Haley meets Keyshawn at a diner, and Keyshawn brings the kids and her birth certificate and gives it to Haley. They're getting passports, and Haley is just talking her through some things. And she was like, I want you to come back to the paint. You can headline, and you tell Derek that with this reopening, it'll be a big night. He can have whatever you get on the floor. I'm gonna make sure that you get all of the door, and you take that money, you take your babies, you go and don't look back. And then she asked Keyshawn, well, where do you think you might go? When Keyshawn got ready to tell her, she said, that's the cardinal rule number one. You don't tell nobody where you're going. So Haley is really trying to help her get out of this mess. So as Keyshawn was getting ready to leave, she tells her, hey, I looked up Haley Coley, and they say she drowned. And she was like, and yet I'm sitting here drinking coffee. So they kind of do the head nod. Katori, the writer of P Valley, said that if you notice, both of them was wearing like lavender and purple. That is the color for domestic violence, and I wear a lot of it. In October, my wardrobe is basically pink and purple. Pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and purple, lavender, lilac, something along there for domestic domestic violence awareness month, excuse me. I'm both victim and survivor of it, so yeah, I'm donned a lot of times in purple during the month. An attack ad comes on as Keyshawn's leaving out the door. Haley gets another cup of coffee. An attack ad comes on with Andre, and they're portraying him as a liar, saying that his father is not dead. His father actually is serving death row. He is on death row. And when they get done with Andre, they go right into going at Patrice Woodbine. But Pastor Woodbine had something for her. She copped to everything. She is the ideal political candidate. Get ahead of it, own it, and go on about your business. She said what she did. She even said, I hold, so the citizens of Chucalissa could fly. She didn't let nothing that they tried to bring up, her charges, this, that, and the other, rattle her. Corbin was fit to be tied. He was some kind of pissed at Andre because he was like, I asked you, was there anything that could come up? And here we are. And they kind of go back and forth, but he is very, very pissed with him. Haley is calling to check in on him. He ain't taking her calls. Derek is trying to buy Keyshawn, so he buys her some shoes, and he wants her to put them on right then. And he's trying the nice side of things in domestic violence. See, if you look at it, it's more bruising. Her face is a lot more messed up. It's black eyes, choke marks around her neck. He's beating her constantly, and now he's beginning to touch her face because, hey, she ain't got to go to work. So he's trying to put her shoes on. He's so sure, he's been buying her shoes forever, so he knows her size. And she was like, it won't fit. And then he was like, but you wear a 7.5. And she was like, yeah, and after 2 babies my feet spread. And she's sick and over him, and he starts this whole theatrics. He's crying, he's hitting himself upside the head, he can't do nothing right. He's trying, and he don't want her to give up on him, and she's done. She's done. Now, whether or not she's gonna leave, it's like I try to tell people all the time, was just like, Keyshawn better leave. This is a process in her time. And there's another problem. It ain't about her leaving. She can't let him know nothing if that's her move, because the bigger question is he gonna let her leave? So Corbin's big brother dug into Andre's past and exposed it, and Corbin confronted him about it, and he even told Corbin, well, you was our daddy's dirty little secret. And he was just like, look, you didn't have to do that, and their focus should be on getting Miss Patrice out the race. Miss Georgie is sitting at the hair salon, and Miss Georgie is the lady who is now the owner of Promised Land, and she's getting her hair done. And Haley walks in this salon, and the woman was like, oh no, I think you in the wrong place. Shanae's salon is up the way. That kind of stung, because it's like, oh, y'all still doing that? Haley, because she ain't the right color, can't be up in there. And then Miss Georgie was like, no, she in the right place. So Haley goes to talk to her, and Miss Georgie gets everybody out the way, lights up a cigar, and was like, is she gonna take the $5 million? Haley was like, no, I told you 10. And she pretty much was saying, about a woman knowing her worth, but knowing when her worth is declining. And basically, she drew her line in the sand and said, $5 million is my last and final offer. And Haley was like, well, you can keep it. And she was like, well, what's going to happen now is if you keep turning down my offer, this is going to have to go to a vote, and it's not coming back. And Haley's a gambling girl. Haley was like, she turned and walked away, and she was like, well, are you holding or are you folding? And Haley turned right around and walked out of that door. She not playing. She wants $10 million. Now, whether or not she's going to get it, that's the bigger question. Little Murder saw Teek's body. Wody is working on the body and getting ready for his funeral. And Lil Murder told Wody, you can't be going around here taking people's lives like you God. And Wody just broke it down to him and told him why he did what he did, as far as regarding Rome, what Rome had on him. He showed him a video, and it was just a real solemn moment. And Lil Murder took what he wanted Teek to be buried in. And it was just, it was sad. It was very, very sad. Mercedes in Miss Mississippi is working on a routine. Well, first of all, let me go back. I'm skipping along. Diamond and Big Bone are all over each other. And Uncle Clifford said, rule number 77, you can't keep a bad bitch down. And Mercedes is working on her new routine, and all of a sudden Haley wants to see it. So in front of Roulette Whisper, Mercedes is trying to do her routine, and it's awful. She does awful. Something is going on with her, and it was just, it was terrible. So Haley was like, but I got somebody else. You're not gonna headline. My headliner ain't ready. And she brings in Miss Mississippi. Everybody looked like they had seen a ghost. Diamond looked. Big Bone is looking. Uncle Clifford is just like. And Miss Mississippi comes to the door. Hey y'all. And the only two that's fangirling out is Whisper and Roulette. They are huge fans of her, so they talking up or whatever. Mercedes is hot. Uncle Clifford and Haley is having an all-out shouting match, and Miss Mississippi goes back there, get her old locker and her vanity, but Mercedes still ain't trying to have a lot of conversation for her. Uncle Clifford gets so mad he snatches up what he can snatch up in a box, goes in his car, and has a full-blown moment. And she sees her mama in the back seat, which was like, number one rule. Bitches don't cry, they get even. And it's just too much. Then it cuts to Big Teek's funeral. He's dressed in his colors. The music is Scarface. They're putting things in the casket with him. Lil Murda was dressed in a suit. They sent him off in a red casket, and no sooner than all of this is going on, Lil Murda puts the casket in the hearse as a pallbearer. He gets out, and some of his crew calls him over there. Pico has done a video claiming that he murdered Teek. The OGs are pretty much like, these young ones don't know no respect, you know, and they start saying what the streets heard. But Lil Murda didn't say anything, but to know that you was right there and a person took their life, and especially in that gang life, and somebody's gonna claim that, that's what you don't do. So yeah, Mercedes and Miss Mississippi are working on their routine, and Roulette tells Whisper to let Terrence do what they've been talking about. And Whisper says she's thinking about it, but she just don't know. And Haley tells Mercedes she isn't ready. Right before they get ready to get into it, Terica's calling Mercedes, and Mercedes goes over there, and Shell has a whole bunch to say about Terica having that abortion, and that takes an ugly turn. Uncle Clifford meets with Corbin, ironically, in a cornfield, and they're talking about everything. And she asks him if his friend, talking about Andre, had death dropped in the polls. And she called his brother the Great Value Obama. And rule number 7629. If you can't get the water to come to you, if you can't get to the water, you need to bring the water to you. And the irrigation system that Corbin was working on started to work. I got to stop right there because I'm a nobody on YouTube. They don't give me enough time, so I'm going to have a part 2 to this video. If you like what you heard, like, share, and subscribe. I will be right back with a follow-up video. And always close with, COVID numbers are up, monkeypox numbers are up. Try to be safe, and always love one another. Till the next time, peace.